Everybody out there, all my MDK gang members out there, go check out Cole TV. I checked it out myself. That shit's dope as hell.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pro Wrestling 60, where we talk about everything that happened this past week in the world of professional wrestling. I'm XLJ, the OG, joined by my partner,
Hey, Baylor, I want to know. Oh,
apparently he's
will
from
you be
Lyon,
my
France
girl?
this week. Mr. B. Roll.
Oh, hello. Yes,
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? How about that backlash crowd from Lyon,
Oh my gosh.
France?
Hey, yeah, and we're gonna get right into it. So I guess already, brother, we're shooting out of the gate here. I better let you say your line.
Yep, oui, mademoiselle. I say the clock starts now.
Okay. And our top story, yes, Backlash took place this past Saturday from Lyon, France, and holy crap. A lot of people are already saying it's the greatest crowd that's ever been at a pro wrestling event. Like that crowd, we've seen some amazing crowds in the history of pro wrestling, but that crowd was nuts, man. Like from top to bottom. I still want to know what the hell the phenomenal, when they say phenomenal, that triggers a song, and I don't even know what that song is, but I want to know. I'm assuming it's got something phenomenal in it, but what'd you make of the Backlash crowd, man?
It was incredible. If you would have, I would have thought that last year's Backlash crowd was going to be tough to beat.
I know, right? And somehow they beat it.
I think the French did. Yeah, I think the French did.
Yeah, it just goes to show you, like, the WWE's plan they have right now is on it. It's brilliant when you think about it. To do these pay-per-views, not premium live events. You'll never get me to say it, Papa H, even though I love you. To do like the not the big four, but the others in in these countries where I hate to say this, but it's like almost like we're spoiled rotten here in North America. They appreciate it all the more. When you do these international shows. Of course, we got coming up King and Queen of the Ring, which will be in Saudi Arabia, which I don't think the crowd's going to be. They've done so many Saudi shows. I think those are it's kind of fizzled out, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm excited to see when they go back to when they go to Germany at the what was it, the Bash at Berlin or something. Of course, they'll be in Toronto for Money in the Bank, which Toronto crowds is always nuts. But yeah, man, that Backlash crowd. Wee chef's kiss. But let's get right into it. Let's talk about the Backlash event itself. And in the main event, we got to see the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes defend his WWE Championship for the first time on television. And what a challenger in the phenomenal one himself, AJ Styles. I feel like they picked the absolutely perfect right opponent for Cody Rhodes for his first title defense. What did you think?
Yeah, like this match, this feud, first title defense, whatever you want to call it. You knew on paper that this was going to be good. You knew it was going to be good, but dare I say, this match over-delivered.
I think so. Yeah, I would say so. Because we ultimately we knew who the outcome was going to be, but I don't know. There was a couple of times where it's like, holy shit, AJ came that close. I like it's interesting. There was a statistic I think out there where like AJ has been that guy for the whoever won the title at Mania like his first title defense. Like I think he did it for Roman Reigns, and I believe he also did it for Seth Rollins one year too, and now he's done it for Cody Rhodes. So like AJ Styles, man, I mean, he truly is phenomenal. But this match was incredible, man. The back and forth and the finish of it, man. That super Cody cutter, that looks sick. And of course, ending it with a Crossroads. Hell of a main event, hell of a way to cap off a show. And of course, you have to know that AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes is our match of the week here on PW60. But honestly, from top to bottom, Backlash was a ridiculously loaded show. One of maybe the bigger moments of the night. How about this? Not a huge shocker here, but the super team of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defeated the Kabuki Warriors from Damage Control, and they are now your new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I thought this was the best I've seen Jade look since coming into the WWE. The finish of this too, well, at least what Jade did was able to do there to Kairi Sane, man. Oh my gosh, you can put the guns down.
Okay.
But anyway,
They were flexing a lot, so I was just like,
yeah, I know it inspired you, but we don't want to get kicked off YouTube because those guns you have are illegal, brother. But anyway, what'd you think of this matchup and the team of Jade and Bianca?
Okay. They even said it. They mentioned it in like the press conference afterwards. Like, we're all thinking like the opposite. Like we want to see Jade versus Bianca, but honestly, we're set up perfectly, right? Because it's gonna make it that much sweeter whenever they finally do face off.
Yeah,
So
I think you can build this for the next year. Have them run with the belts for like the rest of the year, right? And then have it be like where they get dethroned. You could even tease the tension. I'm gonna go all the way back to like Mega Power style in '89, brother, where you could have them start to like tease a split up. You could do something in the Royal Rumble and like Jade eliminates Bianca by accident or something like that, and then tease it. And you can go into WrestleMania 41 and have Jade against Bianca, and it helps like Jade develop all the more. Which I mean personally, I think her coming into WWE, I thought she was a very solid performer. But yeah, I think it's a great tandem. I think it's a great move, and also too, it really puts a fresh coat of paint on Bianca because Bianca has kind of gotten a little bit stagnant, honestly. So first time her ever winning tag team gold too. I don't know who in the hell is going to beat them, but I don't see anybody beating them anytime soon. But congratulations to Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, though. Seriously.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, whoever their first challengers are, good luck.
Good luck with that. And of course, you have to know that Jade and Bianca are wrestlers of the week here on PW60. Also, let's talk about this matchup, this incredible matchup for the WWE Women's Championship, a triple threat with Bayley defending against Tiffany Stratton and Naomi. I love this matchup. I thought this was a great triple threat. Everybody was a key component. Once again, Tiffany Stratton looking like $1 million. I personally, I love Tiffany. It's Tiffy time, man, and I think she's gonna get a title run sooner rather than later, honestly. But we need Bayley to have a long run with that title because she deserves it. But Tiffany Stratton, man, I can't say enough good things about her. Naomi, absolutely loved the pieces. She was like the glue of this matchup, really. And then Bayley, the ring general. Sorry, Gunther, but in this one, ultimately Bayley does retain the championship. No surprise there, I don't think. What did you think of the triple threat? Because I loved it.
Oh, I mean, I absolutely loved it. I'll echo your sentiments. It's going to be Tiffy time sooner rather than later at some point. But yeah, I mean, this was it was a fun match. The finish caught me a little off guard because it seemed like it kind of just came so quick. But I think it was supposed to kind of be that way. So, but yeah, overall, great matchup and. Hey, baby.
Ooh.
You know.
Ah. Yes. Yes, indeed. Remember, Bailey's going to be like one of my 4 wrestling wives, just saying. But she doesn't know it yet. Ooh, creepy. Anyways, how about this matchup as Jey Uso challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship against Damian Priest? Damian Priest's first title defense. First and foremost, let's talk about that Jey Uso entrance. Holy shit. That was like the entrance of a lifetime. You thought the Bad Bunny thing from last year was great from Backlash, and it was. This one, holy shit. And now everybody's probably going to start doing that in the arena with their phones and stuff, Return of the Fireflies, if you will. But oh my gosh, he had them literally eaten out of the palm of his hands. But if I'm nitpicking this matchup, though, I would probably say this was my least favorite match of the card. But just mainly for the fact that all the bullshit interference. It was like it took like 4 people to defeat Jey Uso, and I love Jey Uso, but come on, man, come on.
Yeah, it So ultimately, I mean, this matchup, the good parts of this matchup had nothing to do with the match at all. His entrance was awesome. I know you said you were annoyed by the interferences, and I agree to an extent, but it does accomplish the job of driving home that narrative of there's cracks in the Judgment Day.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I don't know. I love Damian Priest so much, and like I get it, it's part of the story, but it just it was almost too redundant in this match. I mean, it's one thing for them to interfere like once or something, but it was just like the last 5 minutes of it was like Judgment Day. To me, it feels like it makes Damian look weak, in my opinion. Like he can't finish Jey Uso off on himself, but I don't know. That's me nitpicking. But nonetheless, Damian Priest still your world heavyweight champion. It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward with Judgment Day, and also what do we do with Jey Uso now? I mean, he's main event Jey, and I don't think he's in the King of the Ring tournament as far as I know. So I don't know. I'm not sure what you do with him going forward. But I mean, he's a star nonetheless, and he's going to draw big. So it'll be interesting to see what main event Jey Uso does next on the Monday Night Raw brand. I absolutely love this match. If it wasn't for the Cody AJ Styles match, I think this would have been our match of the week. What a way to open the show, man. This tag team war with the Bloodline going against KO and Randy Orton, or should I say Team RKO. I love how this match was just chaotic from the get-go. And I love how Nick Aldis comes out and is like, all right, it's a street fight. Fuck it. So, and then these guys brawled for a good 30 plus minutes. Also, you talk about entrances. Holy shit. The whole crowd singing Randy Orton's song, the whole like bar for bar was nuts. And they popped like crazy for KO too. What'd you think of the tag match that opened the show?
Great call. Having it ended up being a street fight.
Yep. Or Bloodline rules. I don't know.
Perfect for this feud. I love how they went off in the crowd and everything. I love how the Prime hydration station gets destroyed every time it's there. Like,
Tama Tonga looked great too, by the way. I mean, we know how great he is, but this was actually his first official WWE match, or at least first WWE match since signing with them. And I mean, he looked great in this. Looked like a killer. He looked like the Tama Tonga of old. Also, too, I gotta point this out. This is me just a weird thing. Am I crazy in this, or is this the first time Solo's wearing boots? Because wasn't Solo always barefoot? Or am I just now noticing this and he's been like this? Leave us a comment and let us know, because I feel like this is the first time I've seen Solo in wrestling gear or wrestling boots.
I think he has been barefoot for.
Yeah, I feel like this is part of the new look of Solo, I guess. I don't know. But nonetheless, tremendous tag match. But let's talk about this. The biggest shocker coming out of Backlash. Nobody saw this coming, myself included. because we all were anticipating Jacob Fatu has been rumored to be signed with WWE for weeks now, but had no idea that Tangaloa was a free agent. Apparently didn't re-sign with New Japan, and now he is in the WWE with his brother. Say it with me, bro. Holy shit. We've got God is in the WWE now. How crazy is that?
Yeah, did you love on commentary how like Michael Cole said something about the match at the end of it? It was guerrilla warfare, and then Corey said something about like we don't know what the
What their
destiny.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I loved every bit of it, man. I mean, and it's funny too. We talking about we all know WWE's firing on all cylinders. We say it every week. But these little nuances, these little things sprinkled in here and there that us hardcore fans just eat the shit out of them, and them acknowledging like New Japan and stuff like that. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and potentially still we could add Jacob Fatu to this the Bloodline. Holy shit, man. This Solo Sikoa version of the Bloodline is pretty dangerous, man. I'm here for it though.
Yeah, and I mean when you think about it, not only could we potentially add Jacob Fatu, but these two got one more brother as well. So who knows?
Yeah, Hikuleo, but I do think New Japan's got him locked down for a little bit of period of time because they kind of consider him one of their like top young guys there that they want to push. So, but don't be shocked if you see him over in WWE as well. So, or hell, who knows? New Japan could work something out with WWE. So, but nonetheless, man, overall, dude, Backlash I thought was killer. But how about this? This was pretty cool statistic. Backlash was the largest gate of any arena show in the WWE history, which I find fascinating. Now, let's call a spade. Is that truly accurate? I don't know. Because, I mean, it's not like, I think the maximum capacity there was like 11,000 something or other. And I mean, I know there's arenas over here, shit, we can get like 20,000 in or whatever. But also you got to factor in like the merch and like, I mean, it definitely was a sellout, no doubt about that. But nonetheless, dude, the show was amazing. It's like, it's crazy. It's like Backlash now. These past 2 years have like turned out to be like one of the better shows each year for WWE. And it's going to be interesting to see where they go to next year. I think definitely stick with the international theme. Maybe they're going to go back to France. Who knows, man? But we gotta address this though. There are some fans who's a little annoyed, a little perturbed by the French crowd because they didn't quite understand what the hell they were saying. Well, Mr. B-Roll, thankfully for you and I, one of our correspondents on here, one of our good friends to the show, actually speaks French. I'm going to give you one guess who it is.
Best Gout Machine, obviously.
When one says best, the other says Gout Machine. Let's go to the Best Gout Machine so he can kind of fill us in on what exactly they were saying at Backlash.
Welcome, P-Dub City. It's me, the BGM, the Best Scout Machine, reporting from France. Obviously, you know I'm in France right now due to this authentic French flag waving behind me, laying on a weird horizontal. The French are crazy. Now, I understand a lot of you in America don't know or like had no idea what in the hell the French were chanting throughout the evening. You know, we don't speak, Francais. Well, fortunately for you, I know un poquito francais. Let me run some stuff through you. Or to you. Throw some stuff into you. No, that just sounds dirty. At one point, I can assure you the crowd was chanting Sacre bleu, which of course is French for holy shit. At one point, I believe there was a baguette chant. The crowd loves their carbs. Baguette almost sounds like it's a slur. I could hear a little bit of scanin de pas, which is French for scanin de pas. I'm cultured. Now, not everyone in the crowd was chanting along. There was a skybox up in the arena. A lot of people didn't pay any attention to it. The cameras weren't there, but it was full of mimes. They weren't chanting too loudly. At one point, the crowd was just yelling, going crazy, and it had nothing to do with the wrestling whatsoever. There was a huge commotion because famous anthropomorphic skunk Pepe Le Pew made his way in, and there's been a lot of issues with him. He even tried to cancel him. He's basically been the Joey Ryan of the Looney Tunes. Shame on him. I ate an unholy amount of croutons on this trip. Well, I hope this was informative, gentlemen, and as always, I like to leave you with the French national anthem sung by Shania Twain.
I'm gonna get you while I got you inside. Gonna get you, if it takes all night. You can bet your bottom dollar there.
Oh, sorry. Oh, Best Scout, we love you, sir. Thank God we had him here to interpret some of that. I feel a lot better about it. I don't know about you, but I feel a lot better now knowing what the crowd was saying.
I feel educated.
I do. I really do. And I hope all you at home are educated too. Well, speaking of getting educated, let's get educated on night 2 of the WWE draft. Took place this past week on Monday Night Raw. Of course, this was a little bit different than SmackDown because we had 6 total rounds with 4 picks in each round, and Raw would be picking first. What do you think of the draft night 2? Like, I feel we shook it up a little bit more, I guess, but still not as crazy as maybe I'm just a spoiled, fickle wrestling fan, but I just was like, it didn't knock my socks off. Let's put it that way. What did you think of night 2?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the best thing about the draft is probably the NXT call-ups. Like, that's the exciting thing.
Yep. Yeah, nobody really moved around. Like, so the way it breaks down, you had Imperium was the first pick, which really you could just say Gunther. Sorry, Ludwig Kaiser, but it is what it is. Was the first pick by Raw. Then Jade Cargill and Kevin Owens were staying at SmackDown, and Damage Control coming over to Monday Night Raw. So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of like the first big shakeup on night 2. Interesting how these picks go because we'll talk about here in the 3rd round. Because in the 2nd round, Raw took CM Punk first. And then in a surprise, Braun Strowman was picked. And apparently Braun Strowman is back. A little bit of a surprise there in a sense that was thinking maybe he was going to be coming back and involved in something else. Insert QR code here. And then you had the Pride and Tiffany Stratton staying over on Friday nights. You get to the 3rd round. How about this? The entire LWO moving over to Raw, which this is interesting, B-roll. It also included Carlito. So Carlito, who just turned on the LWOs over on Raw. Legado del Fantasma is staying on SmackDown. And then SmackDown also picked up Shinsuke Nakamura. But Raw then drafted Drew McIntyre. So that's where it's interesting. They took Punk before Drew. And, of course, that would set up for some interesting rest of the night for both those guys on Monday Night Raw. You go to the round 4. This surprised me. Judgment Day went all the way in the 4th round, but it's staying on Monday night. Huge pickup, in my opinion. And I think I did call this last week. Raw drafted Ilya Dragunov, has been called up from NXT. He will now be on Monday Night Raw. Oh my gosh. Think of all the fist fights he's going to get in with like Gunther and Sheamus and stuff. It's going to be great. They also had Naomi on SmackDown. And how about this? I bet Adam Pearce was tickled pink as he really showed. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven were drafted to SmackDown. So now it's going to be Nick Aldis's problem to deal with. The 5th round, you had the New Day was drafted to Raw, as well as another big call-up, Laya Valkyrie from NXT. She'll now be competing on Monday Night Raw. And staying on SmackDown, you got Pretty Deadly. And switching over to there, you got Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell are going to SmackDown. And then in the final round, you had the Final Testaments now coming over to Raw. And Bronson Reed's staying. And then SmackDown with a huge pickup as the last pick, they got Blair Davenport, man. Pretty awesome, man. And then I know they shook up some things on the supplemental draft. I think the big thing really was, like you said, the NXT call-ups. Dijak is now back on the main roster. He's going to compete on Monday Night Raw. And also they moved New Catch Republic over to Raw. And here's one interesting enough. Giovanni Finci, who just recently got excommunicated from Imperium, is now over on SmackDown. So So there you go, man. That was the draft in a nutshell. I think I will say this overall. I think they kind of accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, but I don't know. It didn't, like I say, it didn't knock my socks off. You know what I mean? But let's talk about the rest of Monday Night Raw from this past week. Of course, we kicked it off with that Becky promo, and then Liv Morgan comes out, does her thing. Nia Jax came out. Liv Morgan's now the #1 contender. Hot take. You ready for a hot take? Ready for a hot take from me? And you know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
I could give two shits about what's going on with Liv Morgan right now. I don't know. At this point, I find her annoying. At this point, I don't want to see her like win the world title. I know she's going to win it at some point, but what I'm saying here, this is good, people. Turn her heel. Now's the time you like slowly start to turn her heel. Everybody's pissed off because what she did to mommy, myself included. Yeah, just go ahead and pull the trigger, man. Let's just turn her heel, man. So just throwing that out there. Another huge, and I mean huge news item coming out of Monday Night Raw this week. How about Patrick Mahomes was at Monday Night Raw? Not only was at Raw, he was in multiple segments with Logan Paul throughout the night. And the craziest, I think, being he handed all 3 of his Super Bowl rings to Logan Paul. And he tried to blast Jey Uso with him, but unfortunately ended up hitting that giant bobblehead himself, one JD McDonough. But that, I mean, this just goes to show you the reach of WWE and like how popular it is right now. It's just crazy because like I mean, whether you love the guy, hate the guy, it's safe to say Patrick Mahomes is the face of the NFL. Would you agree?
Oh, most definitely, and also
right.
the face of ketchup. So I mean,
yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes perfect sense. But it was pretty cool for him to be there in that moment. The segment with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, absolutely loved. It was so good, man. Just the back and forth. I cannot wait for that matchup. Also, I love the stuff they did with Alpha Academy too. Like Maxine Dupree looked great going up against Candice LeRae. I want to say Johnny Gargano's wife, but anyways, Candice LeRae ended up ultimately picking up the win. Also, too, the Alpha Academy challenging for the tag titles, coming up short against the Awesome Truth. But yeah, Monday Night Raw, man, great show. The draft was awesome. WWE just killed it this week, man. They had an awesome week. We got to talk about Friday Night SmackDown, dude. Especially that crowd, man. The night before, it was like a sneak peek of like, holy shit, we are going to get into something really cool, and that's exactly what we did with SmackDown. SmackDown was a loaded show, kicking off with that big 8-woman tag match with Damage Control going up against Jade, Bianca, Naomi, and of course Bayley. Love the tension still between Bayley and Bianca. That was great. Got to see AOP in action against the New Catch Republic. LA Knight, oh my gosh, I thought the roof was going to blow off the damn place when he came out. Of course, you had the RKO show. And of course, A-Town Down Under retained their WWE Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits. But the story of that show that night, man, it was the crowd. That crowd was super ridiculously like on point. But I mentioned A-Town Down. Or A-Town Down Under. You know, our good friend Bree is going to have a tidbit of the week on this because she loves her Austin Theory. So let's go to Bree with her Tribal Queen tidbit of the week.
Well, hey, hi, hello, everybody. It's Tribal Queen Bree with your Tribal Queen tidbit of the week. And my favorite tag team in the whole wide world, A-Town Down Under, successfully retained their belts against the Street Profits on Friday's Night SmackDown. As they should, because they're the greatest tag team champs in the world, if you didn't already know that. But now, here lies the next question. Who are they going to defend those belts against? Because I feel like regardless of whatever team you put in front of those boys, they're just going to stomp all over them. But, you know, that's the question I want to ask everybody. Who do you think is their next opponents? And Paul should have had them on the card for a Backlash, but that's just me. That was your Tribe Queen tidbit of the week.
She calls them like she sees them, man. So, well, once again, congratulations to A-Town Down Under. And we talked about it. WWE had a hell of a week. NXT Spring Breaking Night 2 was this past week too, as well, on Tuesday night, man. And another solid showing. We say it every week here. But I know the most exciting news item from this for you, my friend, is one. It looks like Wes Lee is cleared from injury. It looks like he's going to be coming back. I'll pump for you to see
Indeed.
your boy Wesley.
Indeed. I was pumped. I was shocked. Because
Yeah, I didn't think he'd be back yet. So.
Yeah. So, and sign me up for a match with him and Obafemi. So,
yeah, although I'm sorry, buddy. I love Wesley, but I think Obi Femi is gonna like chew him up and spit him out because that's what he does. Speaking of Obi Femi, had a hell of a matchup with Ivar for the North American Championship. Of course, he did ultimately end up retaining that. What about the opening segment here too, with Trick Williams coming out to celebrate and Lash Legend looking like $1 million, looking like a fine glass of wine. Ooh, shucky, ducky, quack, quack. Oh man, sorry. I just can't get over Lash Legend. But anyways, that was interesting. Where are we going with that? Like what was in the envelope? I want to know what was in the envelope. We're gonna find out at some point, I think. Also, of course, NXT General Manager Ava announced that the new NXT North American Women's Championship will be decided in a ladder match at the next NXT show coming up, which I'm sorry, what's the name of it? I can't remember. It's the one at the UFC place.
NXT Battleground.
I want to say Breakdown. Battleground, that's it. I knew it was an old pay-per-view name. But anyways, so they announced that. Also, Nathan Frazier and Axiom retaining their tag team championships against the AOP. And how about that NXT Underground matchup with Lola Vice and Natalia in the main event? Dude, that was a fun ass match. I enjoyed every bit of it. I thought Spring Breaking Night too, they had a lot to follow, but I think they did a pretty damn good job of doing that, in my opinion. What'd you think of Spring Breaking overall?
Yeah, I mean, overall great. If I'm picking between night 1 and night 2, I think I'm giving the edge to night 1 slightly, but
you have to,
yeah,
because I mean that's it. That's not only a defining moment for Trick Williams, but that's a defining moment in NXT, like for the next era, because he's going to be the next face of NXT. So yeah, totally understandable.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, but night 2 still had a lot to offer. So
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
so
good shows. Well, here we are halfway through the show, and we haven't even talked to AEW yet because AEW had a great week too. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about Dynamite this past week, coming from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Am I gonna say it? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I am really. I'm digging the Chris Jericho stuff. I said it. I know. It's just like a different coat of paint, but like I don't know. There's something about it. The learning tree. I love the entrance. Now he's doing. The thing is, he's trolling at this point. He's doing shit to purposely piss people off, and he doesn't fucking care, and it's great. Like it's. I think he's on to the next great thing. I mean, here's the thing with Jericho, with his greatness, man. It's just like the reason we were all like kind of shitting on him these past couple months because it just was not nearly up to par to Chris Jericho. This feels like this could be like Chris Jericho's next phase. I'm here for it. I can't wait to see what they do next with the learning tree. Have you seen his stuff he's been doing on social media too? He's like purposely just being cheesy, and it's just like I don't give a fuck what you all say. Like I'm Chris Jericho, I'm the GOAT. Like, just believe in yourself. And changing it to the For the World Championship, which by the way, the match with Shibata on Dynamite was phenomenal. But yeah, I'm liking it. I gotta admit it. I like what they're doing with Jericho. And I'll be the first to admit I was shitting on Jericho a couple weeks ago on this show, but I don't know, man. I think it's a step in the right direction. Am I crazy? What do you think of the learning tree so far?
You're not crazy. It's playing into exactly what is going on, and I can dig the learning tree. The match with Shibata was great. I mean, it had hockey pucks, so how could it not be great?
Speaking of great matches,
yeah,
we got to talk about that matchup for the TNT title with Adam Copeland and Buddy Matthews, dude. Damn, that was a good matchup. Some of the best matches of the night, but easily was between those two matchups. Also kicked off the show with Swerve Strickland. We now know who his new opponent's going to be going into Double or Nothing. And how about it? Everybody's favorite father figure himself, Christian Cage. And I like too how they're kind of playing back off of like what happened in the past between those two. You know, you talk about long-term storytelling, and people sometimes or not sometimes people are criticizing AEW about that. But look, there's an example for you right there, man. So we're gonna go back and touch on that. I think is great. Claudio Castagnoli in action against Brian Cage. One Mariah May going up against Serena Deeb. And how about the way that ended with the towel getting thrown in by Tony Storm? Further advancing that story, I think, with Tony and Mariah. And we now know Serena Deeb will challenge Tony Storm at Double or Nothing. I thought Dynamite was great, man. What did you think of Dynamite?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely progressed some storylines.
Mhm.
I think probably one of my favorite moments was when Copeland's about to give a concerto.
Oh,
and
yes,
Malachi's
yes.
out there, and he's like, "Do it, do it, do it."
Yep. Oh, and I've almost I gotta mention too, the Samoa Joe throwing Isaiah Cassidy in the air, that blood curdling like feminine scream from Isaiah Cassidy. It gets me every time. And also too, not sure on this. Like we're hearing different rumors, but they did announce like pretty much it looks like Chuck Taylor's career is over. Not sure if that's storyline what we're going with here. I hope it's storyline, but I don't know. He may. I don't know. I hope we get to see sexy Chucky T again in the ring, but if not, he did have a great career in my opinion. I loved his stuff he always did in PWG and on the Indies and stuff before AEW. But we hope whatever he's got going on, we wish him well. But let's talk about the big story coming out of Dynamite. And of course, that big story is the return of this man. One Kenneth Omega returned, the best bout machine. And there was this was a good segment, man, because there was like pulling on the heartstrings, talking about that diverticulitis, and it seemed like Kenny was maybe talking about hanging up the boots, and then of course he's talking about like I love how he segued from colostomy bag to talking about two shit bags and Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, and
Yeah,
Okada
that
coming
that
out.
was pretty good.
Okada coming out, dude, and that moment there, holy shit! Like as a fan of Okada and Omega's stuff they did in Japan, to see it finally here in North America, and then Okada saying he's the best bout machine, and of course you get the scapegoat attacking, which I got scared. This is the thing, man. Touching on real life, like there was times where I was like, oh my god, Kenny, don't do this, man. Like I don't want to see you like get re-injured or mess this up, because I mean it was a heartfelt promo he did, which he delivered, man. But yeah, them attacking him, it's kind of a little scary, honestly, at the end. And of course, getting stretchered out of the arena. Although Kenny did say give him a couple months and he'd be ready for Okada. So I think, and you'll probably agree with me on this, I think where we're going with this is I think we're going to get that at All In. I think they're going to do Wembley with Omega and Okada, among other matches. So
I think so. And we have to mention as well, it's a small little thing, but even like the opening of like how it's like it's on Tony.
With the Bucks taking over, yeah, because they had Tony and like, okay, yeah, we're running the show pretty much, and yeah, they were pretty much on the intro. Yeah, it was great. I loved every bit of it. But very interesting where they're going with that story as it progresses along. It's going to be the top story in AEW and one of the top stories in pro wrestling. Let's talk about Rampage, which immediately followed Dynamite on Wednesday night. First and foremost, I'm sorry your boy Dante came up short against one Jay White, but not a shocker there. Kyle O'Reilly had a great matchup with Rocky Romero. Those guys always had great matchups. I loved it when you had back in New Japan's day for the IWGP Junior titles, Red Dragon going up against Roppongi Vice, man. So it's cool to kind of see that rekindled. And of course, we got to see Willow Nightingale retain her TBS championship against one Sky Blue. Tremendous matchup, man. And of course, Willow Nightingale getting ready to head on into Double or Nothing in Vegas here in a couple weeks to go up against one Mercedes Moné. But I love Dynamite, and I thought, and we keep talking about this each week. Rampage, for whatever reason, I think this format for them, if it's right after Dynamite or Collision, it works better. It seems like it's more interesting. So, and I'd be curious to see what the statistic is for their ratings. Although ratings nowadays, they don't really mean nearly as much, and only us wrestling fans are crazy enough to obsess over something like that. But I ain't opening that can of worms. But all in all, like I said, Rampage, fun show. We also had some other amazing shows go on this past week as well. Our good friend Hambone was front and center for this one as TNA's Under Siege took place this past Friday in Albany, New York. Pretty solid show. The biggest thing coming out of this is Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards defeating Spitfire, a team of Jody Threat and Dana Luna, to become the new Knockouts champions, World Tag Team champions. Of course, this now makes Masha Slamovich a 3-time Knockouts champion. Also, you had a great opening match with Josh Alexander and Eric Young going up against Steve Macklin and Frankie Kazarian. Ash by Elegance, how about her getting one over on Havoc in the aftermath of that? And of course, we believed in Joe Hendry. He was in action as well. What did you think of the Jonathan Gresham's look? Because I wasn't expecting that with the whole mask and shit. That was kind of throwing me off. And he did go on to defeat Kushida in that matchup. Did it kind of creep you out? Just a little.
It did. It was different. It was different. Let's go there.
Yeah. And then of course Jordan Grace and PCO did defeat my deathmatch queen Steph DeLander and Connor, or whatever I'm sorry, no disrespect, but whatever we're calling him now in the TNA. And of course, Mustafa Ali retaining his X Division title against Ace Austin. In the main event, the System did defeat the team of Broken Matt Hardy along with Speedball Mike Bailey and Trent Seven. Solid show, man. TNA, once again, do yourself a favor. And we'll be doing this too. Spoiler alert. Here in a couple weeks, we'll be at some TNA tapings here. Us, and you'll see a vlog on that next month here on Cole TV. So, but seriously, go check out TNA, man. They're killing it. And also, New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestling Dontaku 2024 took place this past weekend with 2 nights of action. Really, kind of the big stories coming out of Dontaku. Jeff Cobb is your new New Japan World Television Champion as he defeated Zack Sabre Jr. Also, Nick Nemeth on night 1 did retain his IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship against one Hiroshi Tanahashi in a dream matchup for him. However, we found out he would be defending it the next night against David Finlay, and David Finlay would get back his IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, so now he's a 2-time global champion. Speaking of David Finlay, he actually defeated Yoto Tsuji on night 1 of Wrestling Dontaku. And in the big one, Jon Moxley retained his IWGP World Championship against Ren Narita. There at the end, it kind of got a little interesting because looking like we're going to have a matchup with Shota Umino challenging Jon Moxley. I cannot wait to see that, my friend. And also, by the way, too.
I believe at Resurgence.
Oh, is it? Did they announce it? Nice. Okay, that makes sense. Also, I was going to say, too, we do have new IWGP Tag Team Champions as Kenta and Chase Owens from the Bullet Club defeated Bushimon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi. So I believe this is their 2nd or 3rd title right now. So, yeah, man. Overall, Dontaku, it was a solid show, my friend. So, speaking of solid shows, I want to talk about this. GCW, of course, they had 2 shows this weekend, but I want to talk about that rather you than me show on Friday night. Holy shit. We've talked about it was a loaded card, but dude, the match, Effie and Mance Warner. I've talked about this before. Maybe I'm biased, because we're buddies with Effie. We love you, Effie. Effie's daddy. This is the feud of the year in wrestling for me. I don't care what anybody says. This is easily the front runner. This last man standing match was fucking brutal. The amount of blood that Mance lost in this, Jesus. I mean, I was talking to you at the time, and like we were on screen with each other, and you're like, okay, what's going on in wrestling? And then I just like had to tell you, I was like, dude, it's like literally looks like a crime scene. Like this match was sick, and of course, ironically enough, Effie coming out with like gasoline, the same place where Mance come out with gasoline in Tampa, Florida, which is where the show was, by the way. Ended up ultimately in a no contest, so we're far from done in this feud, man. And like I say, I'm excited to see where it goes. But another huge moment on the night too, and I was popping out on this one. It looked like Danhausen had defeated Blake Christian for the GCW championship. Like I was shocked, man. I could not believe it. But we did find out at the beginning of the night on this show that Matt Cardona is the new general manager for GCW. Yuck. And he did overturn this, and ultimately Blake Christian does retain his GCW title. But dude, you haven't done so, go back and watch this, especially that Effie and Mance match. Oh my gosh. And there's so many other great matches on this show as well. Also, too, the GCW on Cinco de Mayo hosted the Gringo Locos The World on Lucha. They had to make some changes on this card with some people not being able to get in and stuff, but the main event was sick with they had to replace I forget which one of the luchadors, I'm sorry. But I know Jack Cartwheel was in the matchup, and it was awesome. I love, too, Effie against Pimpolino de la Scarlata, and I know I butchered that name, but, dude, that was an awesome matchup, too. Even Joey Janela going up against a Mascarita Dorada. Dude, it's a solid show. If you love Lucha Libre, you got to watch this show, man. It was a great, great show. Let's talk about this, man. The elephant in the room. We had a lot of NXT cuts from this past week, but the most notable was one Drew Gulak is no longer affiliated with NXT. But here's the thing, folks, before y'all get your panties in a bunch and stuff, the thing is, it wasn't actually like he wasn't cut so much. It was just his contract was up and they chose not to renew it. It's as simple as that. So it was not them actively letting him go. It's just they just decided not to renew his contract. It's as simple as that. So settle down, IWC. Everything's okay. I'm sure we'll see Drew Gulak again in some other wrestling company, especially because there's so many great wrestling promotions going on right now. And that segues into this story. Jimmy Smith, man, making some pretty candid comments about Ronda Rousey. I listened to it, and honestly, everything that man says, it sounds exactly how I envisioned it in my head. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. I'm not a Ronda fan. Like, I watched UFC before, and I thought, like, even when she lost the first time to Holly Holm, you could just tell. I don't know. I'm not a Ronda fan. Never liked her stuff in WWE. She always, I'm going to say what I say here, and this is my opinion, but she always kind of had a spoiled, like, brat complex, I felt like. I'm not a fan of Ronda. Appreciate, like, all the stuff she did in UFC, I guess, for women. I mean, you can't take that away from her. But I still think her as a person, I think she's a spoiled brat. I said what I said. I'm done with this. This one's kind of a weird one, huh? Dax Harwood is accusing Eric Bischoff of stalkerish behavior. Like Eazy-E's stalking Dax Harwood? I mean, I think it's just Bischoff is just spewing out shit just to spew shit out. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like he's just doing it for a pop or reaction, essentially. So, I don't know. This sounds like some very much some dirt sheet type of news. Speaking of which, let's go to Jay with the dirt sheet news.
Yes. Ma'am, can you let me know where I'm? Yes, I can read. I'm just a bit thrown off at the fact that goats are roaming freely and this place smells worse than an AEW VIP fan site. Hey, it's your boy, Jay, bona fide member of the Dirt Sheet Press, reporting to you live from Heathrow Airport in London as Cole TV booked me on the wrong flight once again. But here's some stories you may have missed this past week within professional wrestling. And as we all know, Tony Khan finally got physical on AEW television. First threatened with the double BJ, but then taking the 69. Well, on a close set, Tony Khan wore the neck brace to sell the attack. Even did so during the NFL draft. But the real story is Tony Khan sent his secret love letter to CM Punk. As Tony Khan famously told Punk that as long as he's around, WWE will always be Coca-Cola and AEW will always be Pepsi. So, will Tony Khan and CM Punk connect once more? As we can obviously tell, Tony Khan's still in love with Punk by even expressing it on ESPN. Also, within professional wrestling, we all saw The Undertaker appear at WrestleMania 40. As I reported last week, that spot was reserved for Brock Lesnar, as several of those involved in Cody's story were supposed to come out and help him finally defeat Roman Reigns. But as we found out this past week, that is why over WrestleMania weekend we started seeing more and more news about Brock Lesnar's possible return to WWE. First off, WWE finally put Brock Lesnar back onto their website and also uploaded several clips involving Brock Lesnar. It's now being reported that as of the Friday before Mania, Brock was still expecting to fly into Philly, but TKO got cold feet and canceled at the last minute. Everyone knew The Undertaker would be in town and would be more than happy to chokeslam The Rock, even though now it's kind of given The Undertaker the bug to return to professional wrestling. Also, speaking of those returning to professional wrestling, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Everybody was upset that he wasn't the one to get The Rock for Cody Rhodes. Well, as we all know, last spring, Austin was talking about training for a possible match at WrestleMania 40, was even working out, and it was being reported on all summer. Well, according to Austin's camp, as of fall of 2023, the WWE quit contacting Stone Cold Steve Austin about a possible WrestleMania 40 appearance. So, do you believe that the WWE ditched Austin as they knew they were going to go all in on The Rock? I'm hoping next week I could get home so I could get you some better stories. And those just aren't the facts. Those are the dirty facts. The Dirt Sheet News!
Oh, I hate that. His flight got mixed up again, man. Hopefully we'll get Jay back here in the U.S. at some point. It's going to happen, I think, maybe. I don't know. We may have to go over and get him ourselves. I don't know. But, Jay, we appreciate you. And you know what else? We really appreciate you, too, because Jay was kind enough to not only send us that, but he also sent us a little fun he was having there in the airport, so to speak. So check this out.
Threatened with the double BJ, but then taking the 69. Well, on a close set, Tony Khan wore the neck brace to sell the attack. Even did so during the NFL draft. But the real story is Tony Khan. And those just aren't the facts. Those are the dirty facts. The Dirt Sheet News! The most controversial thing that happened is a sweet little big wah! Zinga zaga, zigga zaga, whoop whoop, whoop whoop. Sorry about that. I have gone crazy.
Jay, we love you, buddy. Seriously, we're gonna work on getting you back. So, I don't know what to say after that. Oh, this. So the finals of the WWE Speed Championship took place this past week, and Ricochet is your inaugural WWE Speed Champion. I don't know how I feel about this, honestly. I get why they're doing it, and like it's cool to see it on a different platform, but for me personally, I gotta be honest, I'm not actively watching it. You know, it's just,
Yeah, I mean, I
cool
feel yeah,
concept.
like I feel like I'm in the know on like what's happening, but I'm not actively watching it, and
Yeah,
I don't know. It just
it's
it sounds like if I watched it, like I'd be doing drugs or something. I don't know. Like,
there you go. And speaking of doing drugs, this son of a bitch, God. So Hulk Hogan was on the 700 Club. Let me just vomit and then vomit again. Fuck you, Terry. God, what? Yeah, no, pass. But this is cool though, and random too. Rikishi released a diss track on Hulk Hogan this week. Okay, I'm here for it. Well, thankfully, our good friend Sienna Chanel actually was able to listen to this diss track, and now here's some thoughts from her on Rikishi's diss track on Hulk Hogan.
We all know about the ongoing rap feud between Drake and Kendrick Lamar that started became a all-out war. Well, to us wrestling fan, we have a very unexpected diss track that just recently dropped, and it's none other than Rikishi. So he did drop his diss track to Hulk Hogan called The Sultan, which is actually a tribute to the late Iron Sheik. And after listening to it, I must say, like, I'm very impressed with Rikishi, like, delivering the diss track, especially when he has, like, a couple of his bars that is, like, going into motion. And the beat he was using, it was the sample beat from a very, you could say, a classic song from the 2000 Calling Back by Terror Squad, which is a group featuring Fat Joe, Rami Ma, and others. And, you know, me being a millennial, like that beat kind of brought me back many memories. That's like high school memories, you know, if you know. But with the beat that is like coagulating from, you know, the different like flows, especially he's taking like jabs to Hogan, like from his time in the reality show, his bit of a feud with some of the WWE superstar into like the moveset that like it was pretty impressive. All I can say about Rikishi, he definitely got some bars, and that is like one of the very unexpected but very awesome diss track to Hulk Hogan. Chef's kiss.
I am here for anybody insulting Hulk Hogan. You know my thoughts, and everybody on this show knows my thoughts. So yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out for sure. Well, B-roll, we got some movings around and free agencies and whatnot here going on in the wrestling world. First, looks like Camille has possibly signed with with AEW. Okay, I can see that. I feel like I don't as once again, you know, my biggest thing with the AEW and the women's division is just make sure that they are properly used. And Camille is a mega star. I mean, she can be easily the face of any women's roster anywhere she goes. She's $1 million. So use her right, Papa Khan. Just saying, use her right. Because you didn't use this man right. I'll say that. I said what I said. It looks like maybe all ego Ethan Page may be done with AEW. Would love to see him go back to TNA if that's an option. Would love to see him in WWE if that's an option. I mean, anything this man does, as long as he's featured properly and given the proper amount of time on television, he's going to hit you home run each and every time. So happy to see what happens next with all ego Ethan Page. Absolutely love Ethan Page. And it also appears like Eric Rowan has signed with the WWE. Get them QR codes up, kiddies, because it looks like he may be a part of this new Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, Wyatt Six, whatever we're going to call it. So that's kind of cool, man. Great to see him back in the WWE. Speaking of great, this is phenomenal. I believe in Joe Hendry. So we talked about last week, and yes, folks, it is the number one on the pop charts in the UK is I Believe in Joe Hendry. Now we just got to get it number one here in the States. But my question to you, B-Roll, do you believe in Joe Hendry?
I believe in Joe Hendry.
There we go. But congratulations to Joe Hendry. He deserves it. Boy, how about this? The Kentucky Derby. Seth Rollins kind of sporting a new look there. Becky, of course, looking Becky as always. Like they both look fly, I thought. Like Hambone, if you're watching, I think this drip needs to be in the drip tournament next year. Just saying. The March Mad drip. But that hat Becky's got on, like, what the hell's going on? I'm here for it though. I think it's great. But man, I absolutely love seeing these two at the Kentucky Derby. And speaking of love, we love our wrestling content creators. And this week, our Ruby Ringside Wrestling Content Creator of the Week is Meet Us in the Ring. This is an all-female wrestling podcast. They have not only a TikTok, but of course they have their YouTube channel as well. One of the videos of theirs I watched that I thought was very interesting was them going around talking to wrestling fans to see what they truly think of female wrestling. Checked out some of their stuff. It's very fascinating. They got great views, great opinions. And yes, they even finally did acknowledge our tribal chief after WrestleMania 40. But if you're not following them, you definitely need to give them a follow. Meet Us in the Ring. They're our Ruby Ringside Wrestling Content Creator of the Week. And hey, this is exciting news. We're going to be in Evansville, Indiana this weekend for the Wrestling Legends Reunion at the National Guard Armory. It's going to be a big show. They're going to be doing this is essentially, I think, Jerry Lawler's last public appearance, I think is the way they're kind of dubbing this. They're doing a roast for him. There's a Jeff Hardy concert Friday. We'll be there all day Saturday at the convention. So if you're there, you're coming by, come and see us. Say hi to Cole TV because we'll be at the Wrestling Legends Reunion this weekend in Evansville, Indiana. And finally, WrestleMania 41 has a home, my friend. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, Minnesota. I'm sorry, light-skinned Gaijin. I was pulling for you, but it looks like WrestleMania is going to be going to my home away from home. I consider it my second home. Viva Las Vegas. That's right. WrestleMania will be returning to Las Vegas on April 19th and 20th, too. Kind of spacing it out. Also interesting, they're going with Easter weekend. My understanding is Vegas pushed for that because typically Easter weekend is not a draw for them. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And the fact that it's on April 19th and WrestleMania Sunday is on April 20th. It's on 4/20. You see what I'm doing
20.
here? It's fascinating, but I'm excited for it, man. Vegas is a great town for it. First time WrestleMania being back in Vegas since all the way at WrestleMania 9. I think it's going to be an amazing show, and I cannot wait to see it. And you never know, your boys may be there if the cards play themselves out right.
I see what you did there. I see the cards play.
And hey, one last thing we want to say is thank you all for the love and support you've given Pro Wrestling 60, as this is our 50th episode we've done. Can you believe we've made it to 50, man? But the show would not be successful without all your love and support and all of our great content creators who we love and get to work with on a weekly basis. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Pro Wrestling 60, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen this week in the world of wrestling because it's moving at an ever-rapid pace and is at an all-time high of excitement and greatness. Well, until next week, I'm XLJ the OG with my partner, Mr. B-Roll, and we'll see you again in another episode of Pro Wrestling 60. Everybody have a great week. Bye!